Welcome to this week's episode of the Rantoul Roundup, where we round up the news so you don't have to. In this week's episode, we're going to talk with Lisa Feig from Triad Shredding about an upcoming Crime Stoppers event that's going to be held in Champaign, where you can take your shreddable things and maybe some other stuff that you want to get rid of. And Chad Smith is here from the fire department to talk to us about next Wednesday night's a fireman appreciation meet and greet over at the fire station on Grove. So I think it's going to be a fantastic episode, guys. Thanks for being here. I hope you enjoy. Welcome back to the Rantoul Roundup, everybody. Today I have some special guests from Crime Stoppers in with us. Our one and only Lisa Feig is in the house today. Lisa, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for asking, Kimmy.
And would you like to introduce your friend?
Yes. So I wanted to talk today with you and your listeners about the Champaign County Crime Stoppers Shred event that's coming up on Saturday morning, October 28th, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. It is located in the State Farm Center parking lot E14. All they ask for is a donation, and this is a great fundraiser for them that we have partnered up, and we were trying to figure out how many years we've partnered. It's been quite some time. Mm-hmm. So we'll talk a little bit about that more later, but I thought it would be fun for your listeners to hear not just from Triad Shredding, but also from a Champaign County Crime Stopper.
Yeah!
So I asked Gary Sper from the Board of Directors of the Champaign County Crime Stoppers to join us today.
Well, Gary,
thanks for coming.
Yes, it's very nice to have you, Gary. Thank you for coming on with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Can you give us a little bit of history about you? What was your career like before Crime Stoppers?
Sure, I'd be glad to. I came right out of graduate school and went to work for the Champaign Police Department.
Okay.
In 1976, October of 76. And honestly, my goal was to stay here for 3 or 4 years. I was married. My ultimate goal was to move on to the Federal Bureau of Prisons. Okay. That's where my degree was leading me. And after about 4 or 5 years, I had a couple daughters. And then I thought, well, I don't want to move now. They're little kids, And so I stuck around a bit longer. And then I thought, well, I should probably make a move. And kind of liked what I was doing. And all of a sudden I realized I'm vested in my pension already. Yep. And the next thing I knew, it turned into 34 years.
Well,
so
congratulations.
Yeah. Having fun.
Retired in 2010 and have been retired and loving it ever since.
Well, thank you for your service. We appreciate it. And now, what do you do with Crime Stoppers? Lead us into a little bit of that.
Well, when I left, I worked with Crime Stoppers when I was with the police department. And we can get into that if we have time about how we originally started and how I got involved. But when I left the police department, John Hecker, the president, said, I want to see if you can get on the board. And I'd done this for many, many years. And I said, give me 1 year. Yeah. Just give me a year to get my feet underneath me and see what I want to do, if I want to do something. So he graciously agreed. And I think a year to the day, he contacted me and said, it's been a year. And I said, yeah, okay. And I got on the board. And so I was a board member for a number of years. And then the board elects a member of the board to be on the executive board. Okay. And I was elected by the board, which is 25, 26 different people throughout Champaign County, and elected to be on the executive board, which I've done now for the last probably 8 or 9 years. Okay. So I kind of evolved into an executive board member for Crime Stoppers, and I enjoy it. It's a great organization. I've told many people many times that, if my stock market investments were as great as I think the investment in Crime Stoppers, I'd be a millionaire by now.
Right,
for sure.
It's paid so many dividends through really everybody in the county, because it is a countywide organization. Yes. Mm-hmm. And we service every police department and work with every police department in the county. And it's been a great relationship for Crime Stoppers since 1986.
That's really good. Yeah. So tell us more. How did this event? Tell us more about the event and how it got started, and what you guys would like to see from it, and how you would like to see it grow.
Sure.
So the Shred event has been going on, like I said, for a number of years. Crime Stoppers gave us an Illinois State Crime Stopper Association award back in 2018. And I think we had been doing the shred event with them a couple of years before that, actually.
Right. I believe so.
And so we've had a long-standing relationship with the Crime Stoppers. My brother and I, Jim and I, have always been passionate about having a sense of order in our community. We cannot... We can't imagine our community minus Crime Stoppers. And so that is one of the reasons why triad shredding is, I get goosebumps talking about it. That's why we have been so passionate about supplying the shredding services for them every year. And we actually do not charge them a dime.
Wonderful.
So the shred event collects paper materials. They say a suggested donation for 2 boxes is like $10 or $15. And honestly, that's like a per box almost, really, for a drop-off amount. So anything that you can give in the fundraising for the event is going to be well used. And that was the reason why I thought it would be so beneficial for Gary to join us today.
Yeah.
Because they really do make great use of the funds that they do raise off of this event. And they also, a couple of years ago, we decided through COVID, things kind of shook things up during COVID for everyone. So the next one that we had gotten to do, we decided we would add cell phone collection as well. So we do collect some electronics, just primarily cell phones that we collect at the event. And please give a donation for that. I normally charge $7 a piece for cell phones when our businesses, out in the community doing their normal charges. And so I think that, it's very reasonable fundraiser, charge, and it's by free will donation. But the event is Saturday, October 28th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. It's at the State Farm parking lot of E14.
Yes.
So they are so organized for the event. They'll have a pop-up tent, weather permitting, so that it doesn't blow away, because we have, we're in central Illinois where the wind farms are. So they do really great. They have a pop-up tent. They have pylons directing everyone where to drive. They will also have a DEA agent collecting unused pharmaceutical drugs on site. So they actually have an officer with the DEA that collects those materials. He's the only one to deal with those materials, and then the shredding is separate.
Okay, so let's hit on that for just a minute. What are all the things that you could bring to this event to safely dispose of?
So paper materials, that would be office paper, that would be, from your home office, personal documents that you've had on file. Sometimes people bring like old tax forms, old financials, things that they would have at home typically, or their home small business that they've just got a box or two that they want to dispose of properly. And then we collect it at that site. And then that stuff is all taken back, because we're an off-site shredding company. We collect it, we take it in the closed locked truck into our facility. When it gets back to our facility, I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but the facility that Jim and I built just outside of Rantoul, I can actually drive and back all the way into that facility, shut the door, and that's when offloading commences.
Right, so that it's completely
it is very
safe.
It's very secure. Everything's locked, in our facility. We're constantly on lockdown. Which is good.
But what about other stuff than paper? You mentioned pharmaceuticals. Are there other things that could go to?
So unused.
You mean other than pharmaceuticals?
Yeah, like I don't.
We'll take expired drugs. Period. And it doesn't all have to be prescription. I mean, I've seen old aspirin and that kind of stuff. People can clean out their medicine cabinet basically. And as can be said, we don't even handle that. We have an officer from Champaign there. And if it's pharmaceutical stuff, we just give him a signal. He comes over and takes it. And we do roughly, I don't know, like I said, we're not quite sure how long we've done this. It's been a long time. But we do close to 100 pounds of of pharmaceutical stuff.
It's just a
That's a
safe
lot.
way. It's a very safe
Yeah.
way to dispose of some of those things that you might
yeah.
not necessarily want to throw like in a trash bin or something.
Right.
Yeah.
And people are always looking for some place to get rid of that stuff. You used to be able to do it at all the pharmacies. Now a lot of them don't do that. And it's just an easy, convenient way. They can bring everything at one time. They, it's kind of sad. I've seen people give cell phones back that are newer than the ones I'm still using. So I feel kind of bad about that sometimes.
Yes.
But I think, okay. But, I don't know, last year I had one lady must have given me 10 or 12 cell phones.
Wow.
And, people get new ones and they just throw the old one in a drawer.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do with it?
Or you could be like the Taylor family and have the mantle that's by your steps to the basement full of cell phones.
Yeah.
Every cell phone that mom and dad and I have ever had or not
Yeah.
even the cell phones. Even I think we have a rotary phone on it. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's the history of the cell phone.
Sure.
I call it cell phone graveyard.
Yeah. Yeah, why not? We didn't have anything else to do with that space over at their house, so we made it fun. So
There you go.
Can I ask Gary, what are some of the ways for people who don't know that Crime Stoppers helps Rantoul as a community?
Sure. And I think it's important to back up just a second. Something Kim said. We do the money that we take in. Basically, it's $10.
Yeah.
And you can do two banker boxes.
Yeah.
But we're not going to turn somebody away that's got a bag. I'm not going to sit there and measure.
course,
that
yeah.
So we pretty much. I don't think we've ever turned anybody away. And we've had people that have given us $100 bills.
Yeah.
Because I think they see this. They can't get out and do something on their own to make the community safer. So this is their way of helping us.
Yeah.
And we work, as I said, with every community in Champaign. Rantoul, you name it, we've done work with them. And the way that works is when Crime Stoppers takes a tip, no matter where it's at in the county, whatever jurisdiction it's in, we get that case to Rantoul, let's say.
Okay.
And they can work on that case. And then they get back to us and let us know if it's successful, if they can use it, and then we proceed from there. But so we take tips from everybody, or anyone, and then we get them to the right jurisdiction. So we're kind of like a clearinghouse. The information comes into us, and we have the avenue and the method to get that information out to Champaign County. Basically.
I think in my mind, I always just thought it was interwoven with the department, so it's good to know how that process is done, and I appreciate you
It's
sharing
really
that.
not part of any police
Right,
department.
it's independent.
When I was working, I worked with Crime Stoppers, and we kind of helped start it. But the Champaign Police Department was gracious enough to allow me working for them time to do this. And over the year we've evolved, because when we first started, I was still working. All the calls came into my office.
Yeah.
I took all the calls. I got the tips to the law enforcement coordinator every morning, and he dished them out to the various departments. In the evenings when I was gone, the University Police Department answered those calls for me. And I'd come in the morning, I'd call them.
Yeah.
They'd tell me how many reports they had. I'd transfer everything back, and then I'd deal with all the paperwork. And then I'd start on my regular job.
Right,
kind of thing.
yeah.
So, it became almost overburdening because the calls kept coming in, and we got bigger and bigger, and we got more well known, and calls increased dramatically to the point now where we have a company that answers those calls for us.
Yeah.
And because we can't, two things have happened. Number one, the calls have increased so much, and over time, police departments don't have the manpower to do that anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, even the police department would say, we'll donate somebody's time. It's just not, the people are not available anymore.
Yeah.
And so we hire a company to do that. And those calls come in, and they're literally sent to us every day. They're encrypted so that nobody knows who that caller is. And I think that's a very important thing to denote. I've been doing this since 1986, and there are still people who think that we know who those callers are. And the only thing that I can do is promise them that we have never known one caller ever.
Yeah.
We'll never know a caller. We make no effort to find a caller.
Of course,
That's not our concern. Our concern is that piece of paper and the information they give us, and how valuable it is to a police department to solve a case. And so we make no effort whatsoever to find out who a caller is.
Yeah.
And if a reward is deemed later on, we have a way to get them that money so that, again, we don't ever see them.
Yeah.
And we don't divulge how that is because we don't want people to know how.
None of us
but
should know.
I guarantee you that nobody in the police department or law enforcement or Crime Stoppers or anybody will ever see you as a caller.
anonymity.
Exactly.
I can't ever say that word. But I always
You
say
did a great.
Big word, isn't it? Yeah.
So, Lisa, tell me one more time. We've taken a lot of time today. Tell me one more time the date and the location.
It is Saturday, October 28th,
Yep.
from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And it is State Farm Center parking lot E14.
14.
Yeah, I wanted to double check before I said
I
it out loud.
did before I came, yeah.
Thank
Because I
you.
wasn't sure either, yeah.
Yeah.
14. Okay, guys.
Yeah.
So if you have that paper, those papers that need to be shred, if you have some pills or things that you might want to get rid of, this would be the time to do it. And that'll be Saturday the 28th. So thank you both for coming. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks so much
Thanks for having us.
Welcome back to the Roundup, everybody. I have a special guest, guys. Let's be real. I call all my guests special, but this is one of my favorite guests. Chad Smith is here with me from the fire department. How are you doing today?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for coming on. So you guys have a special week coming up, and I wanted you to tell us all about it.
Absolutely. So in the month of October, typically the second week of October is Fire Prevention Week across the country. In Rantoul, we gives us the opportunity to go to the local schools, elementary schools and junior high. We do fire drills as they're required by the state. Kids get to see the fire trucks, get to see the firemen. And it really gives an opportunity for the firemen to be kids again, crawl around with the kids. It's a really good time. Last year we decided to host an open house, not just to simply engage the kids at school, but to also engage the families.
Yeah, the community as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So on Wednesday, the 11th of October, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., the main fire station on Grove Street will be open to the general public. We'll have free hot dogs, chips, and water. The fire trucks will be there. The firemen will be there. We'll have games. A representative from Nicor Gas, which supplies the natural gas in Rantoul. They'll be there to explain some natural gas causes in your home. It's getting cold. You know, we get calls for, hey, I smell gas leaking in my house. They'll be able to educate people on that.
Really good.
We have had
the man with many phones, ladies and gentlemen.
We have also had we'll have an opportunity this year. The Village of Rantoul Electric Department, they're going to be out, show some stuff with high voltage power.
That's kind of cool.
Which is always, when power lines come down, it's a very dangerous situation. When they're still live, they're going to be able to educate people on how to be safe.
That's really good. Really, really good.
So this week, it's all about fire prevention, being safe, engaging with the community. It's a great
fun time. It sounds really like a really fun time. How can we support you guys in that? Just come out, show up, talk to you guys, that kind of thing? Or?
Absolutely. Show up, have a good time. If anybody's been to our fire prevention events, we have a really cool stove that we use for a fire prop. We'll catch it on fire, and then we'll have parents and kids. We have some fire extinguishers and try to put it out.
Oh, wow. That sounds like
we have a really good time. The smokehouse will be out there. Hydro, our fire extinguisher or fire hydrant, he'll be out there. We'll have a good time.
Tell us a little bit. It seems like there's some construction going on in your world. Can you tell us anything about that?
Absolutely. So over on Maplewood Drive at the substation, we're adding on to the fire station. Right now, about 60% of the firemen on the fire department, which we have allocated 33, they live on the east side of town. So rather than traveling all the way to the main station, we need to add some fire apparatus in that area so they can get the calls. But more importantly, in the fire service, firemen are 40% more likely to get cancer than the general public, simply because of carcinogens. And let's be honest, nothing is made naturally anymore.
Right.
It's all manufactured somehow. So when we go to calls of service, we need to be able to get those carcinogens, those burn plastics off of our bodies. Right now, we have no way of decontaminating ourselves. So with this addition, we'll have 3 private shower facilities that guys can get cleaned up, and importantly, Right now, we don't have any females on the fire department.
Right.
So
That may
we're looking
change
forward.
someday.
We need a female to come out, apply, make it through the physical agility test, get a female in the department. Now we have resources for that individual also.
That's awesome. Yeah.
We're really looking forward to the future.
And it's really great that those guys don't have to take any of that kind of stuff home with them. Like, they can shower at the station and not have to, I'm not as educated with you, but you know what I mean? Like, I would think that having that on their person, there's the possibility of bringing some of that home.
Absolutely. So. And that's the second part of that. We want to leave the stuff that we engage in with calls at the fire station.
Yeah.
I don't want any of the firemen taking it home to their wife, their kids, their family. The general public will go back. We'll get everything cleaned, gear clean, trucks clean, leave it all there, and then we can continue on with our lives. And just simply try to be as safe as we can.
Yeah, and I think that's really awesome. I'm looking forward to watching that facility grow. Being a child who went to East Lawn and my babysitter was right down the street, that's always been a nice little firehouse for me to grow up knowing. So I'm glad that that's getting some updates. So it's really good. Well, folks, again, it's Wednesday the 11th. So next Wednesday, what was the time again?
6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Stop by the main station house on Grove and get a hot dog and some chips and say hello to the guys and meet the guys and get familiar with them and take the kids out and have a good time. We appreciate you being here, sir.
Thank you very much.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for being with me this week. I hope you've enjoyed the roundup, and I can't wait to bring you what's next. I think we're going to talk wine and food next week with Cindy Crawford from the Community Service Center. They're going to do some stuff with ETs coming up, and then you never know who else is going to stop by. So I look forward to giving you that episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow. We're on Facebook, Instagram. Guys, I finally broke down and made a TikTok account. Like, I was really putting this off, but I did it. Now I just need a reason to, motivation, not a reason. I need the motivation to do it. So you can find Curly Girl Productions on the Tiki Talkies. And what else? Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, all the cool things. Please share with your friends. Please let me know if there's anybody that you'd like to see on the show or hear on the show. And thanks again so much for being here, guys. I really appreciate you hanging in there with me, and I'll talk to you next week.